We're gonna have one more party, one more special occasion. Do it Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, holidays and weekends. We can have one more party. There's more hell we should be raising. One more party now, one more party tonight.
And welcome along to our Monday night live on. We are going to be attempting a bullfinch, a common British garden bird, and it's going to be part of our regular Friday video, which will go up on YouTube on a Friday evening, part of our Birds and Blooms series. And Dorothy, I think, was asking me had she missed a tutorial or whatever. No, I have done a tutorial on Birds and Blooms, and that was for the Painting Over Borders membership group, which you can find access to via the Very Chic Emporium page. Cracking little group there, full of interest and interesting people. But as regards to my page, no, I haven't done a tutorial yet, and tonight we'll be laying the groundwork for that. Are you alright, Mr. Handyman?
I think we've just gone live now, I think.
Oh, right, okay.
For some reason it didn't connect to Facebook.
Okay, well, I'm sorry about that. I've been talking to myself for a couple of minutes, but, you know, there's nothing new in that, is there? I'd just like to welcome you all along to our Miss Acrylic Paint-A-Lot Monday Night Live, which tonight will be a bullfinch, which is a very... Well, I can't say it's a common garden bird in Britain. It is a bird we see periodically, and he really stands out. He's got a lovely sort of russety coloured chest and a very finch beak. So that we're going to be starting by painting him tonight in our live, and then on Friday I'll upload the video with the blooms that go with him to finish him off, and that will be a regular Friday night upload to YouTube. 8 o'clock on a Friday night, the Birds and Blooms will go up, and we'll carry on every Monday doing something else for our lives. Dorothy, I think Dorothy Smith asked me had she missed a tutorial that I'd done, and no, you haven't actually. Certainly haven't missed one on this page, but I did do a tutorial for Painting Over Borders, which is a membership group which you can access through Very Chic Emporium. It's a lovely little group, lots of interesting things, lots of interesting people. So mosey over and have a look if you want to. I did my Birds and Blooms tutorial for them last week, so it's up there. If you join, you have access to that and loads of other tutorials. But getting back to our group, our free group, let's have a look at how far we've come. Can we have the overheads, please? And you will see that tonight we have an additional overhead camera, like we didn't have enough before. We've now got this one, which is palette cam. I just felt that sometimes when I was mixing colours, or particularly when I was loading some of the smaller brushes, you're having a bit of a hard time seeing what I was doing. So we've now got a camera for our palette, so you shouldn't miss any of the excitement on there. So let's have a look and see what sort of things with regards to the blooms I've been doing, and then we'll have a look at the birds. This is just a bit of scrap MDF that I painted on. I just wanted to get the hang of painting white flowers and how not white flowers are. This here is the tutorial that I did for the Painting Over Borders, the blue tits in amongst some pink flowers, which I put eventually on I painted onto a little cabinet, which you might have seen. I did paint the pictures here, post the pictures here so you could have a look and see what I've done. And I think the cabinet looked very pretty when it was finished. I thought it did anyway. But this was another practice that I did, and I just thought I'd try and see if I put other little flowers with it, what would happen. I don't like these ones, but I think there's maybe some mileage in these ones and possibly even blue. But that was just a practice. And really, I do advocate that you practice as often as you can. I know it's not easy and life gets in the way, but practice makes perfect. It just does. So, practice as much as you can. So back to the bird that we're doing tonight for our live tonight. This is the Bullfinch. This is the fella that we are going to paint. He's I just did him so I could see any possible pitfalls that were going to happen. And one thing that I have worked out is I'm going to paint these on this, which is a sort of non-traditional canvas, if you like. It's actually the door of a bedside cabinet. And I want to have the male and the female, one on each door, and I want them looking at each other. So I painted him this way, and then I realised for the cabinet I wanted him the other way. So I've printed out some blue tits of varying sizes.
Bullfinch.
Bullfinch, sorry. Of varying sizes to see which one, so I could audition them on the door and see which one looked the best. This fella here, that was never going to be a goer. Starting to think I'm that daft, but I did it so as I could see the detail when I'm painting him. So I'm going to keep him where I can see him and refer to him. This one he's a bit too big. He's too dominant on that door. And then I thought this one was all right, and I thought that one was all right until about 5 minutes ago, when I just thought he was just a bit too small. So I've gone for this one, and I think he's okay. I think we've got room to get some flowers under him, maybe around his back, and so that's the fella that we're going with. Oh, bless you, Mr. Handyman. Now then, this. Oh, bless you. Bit of sneezes.
Too much dust?
Yeah. Told you about dusting, haven't I? This has been just painted, well, this afternoon, in this sort of smoky bluey colour, which I chose, and now I'm kind of wondering why, really, because I want him to, if you can see, there's quite a lot of this smoky blue in him. It's grey blue. So I'm going to have to paint a background for him. Otherwise, he's just going to sink into this. So that is going to be the first thing that we do.
Crystal says she likes the bigger one. Will you place him on a branch or blossoms around him? The entire panel will be blossoms, won't it?
Well, yeah, there'll be some sky at the top. Then there'll be some flowers going sort of this way. And then just some trailing up round behind him. So the whole panel will be done pretty much.
The bird's just the first step
in
a larger composition.
We're going to do a little bit of the background, but not all of it. We'll come back to that once we've done the bird. Then we're going to do the bird, which is today's live. And then on Friday, I will be uploading the video to YouTube, which will be me painting the flowers in. And it'll be on my channel, Miss Paintalot, on YouTube at 8 o'clock on Friday, but I'll put a reminder on the page and with a link so you can get there. So the first thing I think I need to do is put some light blue, a lighter blue than this, down. And I'm going to use ultramarine and some white. I've just got my paint in these pots because invariably you end up getting too much paint out and then you can't get it back in the tube, so you end up wasting paint. With this I can just scoop it up and put it back in the pot, so it's not any different to the normal paint I use. It's just saves a little bit of paint. So we want some blue, possibly not masses. Oh, I managed to do that off camera. Okay, need to come down a bit. There we are. No.
Your middle's overlooked. There's the pot lid.
Yeah. There I am there. Okay. Sorry, it's just taken me a little while to get used to
Mr.
palette cam. I'll leave the lid off that. And some white. I'm not using the golden white on this Snellier Abstract white. I'm just using some cheaper white, which by the looks of is pretty much all used up.
Any more?
I have more. I thought that might happen. So I want a light blue. I want it to look like the sky, but I want it to stand out from this grey blue that we've got. So we might leave it a little bit marbled, so I can pick up just different.
Georgia Owens saying howdy.
Howdy, Georgia. How are you getting on? So you can see this is a bit marbled. So every time I put my brush into it, I'm almost bound to catch different sort of different strengths of blue, different bits of white, whatever. And the brush I'm going to use for this is this one, which is a right show. It's been used for, well, all sorts of things, but basically mostly craft projects. Would you say, Mr. Handyman? Sort of painting boxes and, you know, any sort of craft project, decoupage, whatever, we've used this. And it's like, well, you can see it. But it's good enough for this, and in fact it's probably very good for this because it's soft. So let's do what we always do, which is dip our brush into the water. Dip your brush in, wipe it off on the edge, dip it in, wipe it off on the edge, and that maximises its potential for picking up the paint. So let's make a start. So my bird's going to go here, so I want the sky in about here. This is the first sort of thing I think we've done that hasn't been a little bit painting by numbers. I mean, the bird, yes, there's skill involved with that, but it's more like brush handling skill. But the flowers themselves, they are not painting by numbers, definitely not. So I think that's going to be quite a nice background for him. Just give that a little bit of a spritz. And when it comes time, I'm going to do the same to the other door. So let's hope I can manage to mix some paint that's pretty similar in tone. Right, so that's going to be all right. He's going to stand out nicely against that, and he'll have some blues coming up round him. I don't really want that very, very straight edge there at the top.
Georgia says she's having great weather.
Really?
So it's making her energised.
Oh.
Like Duracell bunny.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see your paintings. Get painting when you're energised. So there we are. That's slightly more random than it was, and I like that much better. So now we'll move on to the greens. Once again, this is any green. Basically, I wouldn't use phthalo green. I haven't said that, but this is just
one way or the other, you're in the dead spot there.
Okay. This is a Peebo one. It's a cheaper paint. It's not really artist's quality paint.
Too high up. Oh, just on.
Okay, well, I'll bring some of this down here.
No, more to your right.
I'll bring this here then. I'll mix some white through that. Mix it similarly so it's a bit marbly. Like that. Always wipe your knife off, your palette knife. And lo and behold, what do you know? We've got another one that's wrecked. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this one for our green. The idea is the bird's going there and I want flowers around him. So I'm quite happy to have a couple of flowers standing up on stalks, if you like, there, and maybe just a little bit curling round at his back. But the rest I want sort of green.
Georgia P says hello.
You don't want to say her surname, do you?
No, I've just can't pronounce it.
She told me the other day how you say it. It's Plutchek, I think, something like that. Sorry, Georgia. So this is just going to go randomly in here. I've got a random hair there in my random painting. This is a nice, well, it's a mid-green, but actually against this grey-blue, it's looking quite light. I quite like it, actually. So my bird's going to go about there. So I definitely want something here. Now this isn't the finished thing. This is just, you know, so we've got some background in behind him. I'm just going to take a darker bit and put it in there for the bird himself. There we are, a bit of a random background. I quite like that. So there we go. Right. I'm going to have to dry that before I put this on. So, sorry, I'm disappearing. Oh, sorry, that took a little while to dry. It was quite thick in places. Right, so now I need to make sure that I've got my bird about where I want him. I want him at that position, that pose. The female I might make looking up or looking down or whatever, but him I want fairly straight on looking at his missus. I think that's about where he goes. He goes slightly over a bit.
Yeah,
About there?
I would say so.
Right there then. Okay. So we're going to do with him what we do with all the things that we're going to transfer, and just stick him down on one edge so as we have a hinge, if you like. So that's where he's going. Just stick him down there, and then we've got a hinge that we can flap over if we need to do any more detail as we progress. This is the Saral transfer paper, which I've told you all about before. If you've got any questions, just ask Mr. Handyman. He's on chat. He'll give you the answers, hopefully. You put the coloured, the very highly coloured side down and the duller side forward, facing you. And then just draw around him. hope you've all been practicing. It's just getting used to handling a brush, getting used to mixing colours. All these things just come with time. Just time. It's got a very finchy beak. Try and get as much detail in as you can. It'll just make it easier for you when we come to paint it. These beady eye. So take your time. It's easier. Oops. It's easier to follow it now before you start. Now I'm going to draw this leg in, although I really don't see it necessary to draw his foot in, so I'm not going to draw his foot in, because it's going to be standing, he's going to be standing amid some flowers, so you won't be able to see his foot anyway. And anyway, I think birds' feet are horrible. This is where he goes into white, down there. Here's his main flying feathers here. That comes all the way up there into his wing. And then some sort of carry on here, but to be honest, I don't know my anatomy of birds. It's probably easier to do these if you do know your anatomy. I know some are called covert feathers, some are called flight feathers, but anyway, it doesn't matter, we're drawing them irrespective of what they're called. So this has got lines on there. He's got some detail around his face here, where this grey-blue comes in. I think that might be it. Let's have a look. I think that looks okay. Right, so we'll leave him down there out of the way, and I shall from now on refer to...
Zoom in now.
Yeah, zoom in now. Zoom in, not this fellow. That's perfect, absolutely perfect. So hopefully you should all be able to see what's occurring. And I've got my big reference photograph, so I can see what I'm supposed to be doing. Right, so for a start then, let's start with his head. It's always a good place to start, and it's a sort of black mixed with blue, mixed with a little bit of white. So we'll just get a little bit of black out. I'm just going to use my 1/4 inch angle shader for the time being. I will have to move on to some of this array of small brushes that I've got for the detail. So, but for a start, just to put the base on, we'll do it black, and then we'll move on from there. So you don't need very much. Black is an incredibly potent colour. So there's a bit of black. I've got a bit of blue up here. I need to get another little bit out of there. Mix these.
Crystal says she would have painted the big bird on the cabinet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see why. I mean, if you're not interested in the bloom part of it, then yeah, you know, nothing stopping you painting a big bird at all. At the end of the day, if you're painting whatever size you like. That is a bit inky. I need a little bit more black in through that.
Susan Hall says hello, she's back from the Birmingham NEC and she'll replay.
Hiya Susan, I thought you'd been quiet. Have you been to an exhibition? Right, so here we go. I'm going to need to wipe off a lot of the paint that's on there. It's just too much and I won't be able to control it. Now, although his eye is black, there is a circle around his eye that isn't. It's a kind of browny colour. So, brush is just about getting past it. I did buy a new one the other day. But, you know, I want to keep it for best. So don't paint his eye in at this stage. We'll come back with a smaller brush and then do the ring around his eye as well at the same time. And yes, his beak is also black, but we'll do that. We won't do that now.
Susan says she was getting backgrounds from the photographic show for the knitted dolls she makes for charity.
Ah, right.
So photographic backdrops, I presume.
Ah, see. Gosh. I'm going to have to straight away go into a smaller brush than this. I just can't swipe your brush as you would normally. And then...
Crystal says big bird on turquoise cabinet with roses.
Yeah, go for it. Show us the pictures. Sounds lovely. So I'm going to have to move into a smaller brush here. I just can't get the details properly with the even the 1/4 inch one. So there's his head. And on the top of his head, if you look, there's some sort of grey markings which help to suggest that the light's shining down on him. And I think we should give a nod to those. So it's this sort of colour here that they are, this inky blue. So load your brush up and then it's just a few little markings on the top of him there. Just kind of to exaggerate how black he is actually. So that's fine. That's sufficient. Don't go mad. Now his beak, we all know it's black, but it's so sort of shiny. It shows up as a grey. Shows up as a grey.
Perfect.
So we'll put him in grey and then highlight and low light it with white and black. So I'm going to use black. This is a golden. It's a fluid acrylic. It's just an acrylic, just the same, except it's quite runny.
Susan says thank you for the gesso tip.
Ah.
So much easier to paint on.
Yeah, it is. It certainly is. So I'm just going to add a little bit of white to that black to get a nice grey. It's not often that you use this grey because it's quite a harsh grey. Ordinarily you'd mix it using different colours, but this is the perfect grey that we want for his beak. So we'll pop his beak in this grey. He's got a very Finch's beak, so it comes, the top bit sort of curls down over the bottom part of his beak. And try if you can to leave a little line between his top beak and his bottom beak so you know exactly where you're going to put the line, which is in black. Now Mr. Handyman's fiddling.
Just zooming out slightly. It's actually easier to see. I think then.
Okay, so that's that then. We'll put some black in. So you load your small brushes like this, you roll them round and round and round in the paint, and then you just pull up and you get a nice point. So he needs, that doesn't look anything like it. He needs a line in here for his beak. And then he has a little darkness down the front. Just sort of curled. And then he has a little bit in here. And then we need some white. So this is heavy body white, this stuff here. So I need to just take a little bit away, maybe a little tad more than that, and mix some water in with it, just to thin it down, otherwise it's too thick, the little brush won't be able to push it. Same thing, roll it to a point, and then put the highlights in of his beak. Just there, and there. A little sort of line around here. Not altogether happy with that. That's a very white mark down there. That's going to come back in with some grey here because I'm not exactly ecstatic with that beak. I'll leave that till it dries. I think I might revisit that. I'm not, can't see what's wrong with it. There's something wrong with it. I'm going to have to go back to having a look at how it transfers because I'm...
I'll still be wet so
Yeah, I know. Marking this line again. Oh, I don't think I'm a million miles away. I don't know why that should look so wrong. Anyway, I'll leave it to dry, let it come to its senses for a while. Just on the picture, this black bit comes under.
bring it down a bit so you can see.
This black bit comes under his beak.
Yeah, all the way under.
All the way under, so don't know.
So that's where it needs to come round, doesn't it?
It needs to come round here, I think.
That's right, and she'll lift the beak up a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably a bit better actually. Right, good. Getting places. So what else do I need black for, or inky black or whatever? Seeing as I've got it on my brush and I've got it out, let's see where I need it. So I need it down here. Goes all the way across these ones, and then there's some sort of like grey blue over them. And what's this? Where are we? There. God, it's really easy to get lost with this fella. I think I could do this one with a bit of a larger brush. Making it hard on myself. So this is kind of the end of these feathers up here. That'll go that way. Try and paint your strokes in the way that the bird's going. I mean, at the moment we're not doing anything apart from blocking out, and blocking out is literally when you put your base colours on that you're going to come back over and revisit in time, in the fullness of. But it still does make a difference. It's harder to get your brush strokes going the right way if you've put them on the wrong way first off. So basically what we're doing is just putting the colours in that he is. And then we can come back and detail it up. So that's that. And he's got a little white bit here, then he's got his tail. I haven't drawn where his tail ends, but it's about, it comes up here fairly straight. So it's about there. And it goes down to a V shape. So far, nothing complicated. I mean, his beak's a bit of a bother at the moment, but I can certainly rectify that. Just leave it to dry first.
Once you rub out the sorrel, it'll look slightly better.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's exaggerating it. Right, now this is dry. We'll come in and we'll do his eye. And the ring around his eye. So his eye is black. So load your brush up again, rolling it and pulling it away. But where the sorrel is, there, where that yellow is, try and leave that line if you can, because that's a little ring round his eye that is not black, and it will make the world of difference. So put his eye in, try and leave that little ring around it. Like that. And really, if you haven't got a small brush, I'm tempted to say bucket, you are, because you can't put it in if you haven't got a small brush. So we'll now put in the ring that's around his eye, and for that we just need a little bit of dark. So I'll use raw umber here. I'm just going to dip it out of the pot. I mean, I need the smallest amount. Same thing, water it down a bit, otherwise it's just too heavy for the brush to push around. And just offload it a bit and then draw the eye in. I'm going to have to leave that till it's dry and come and put another coat of paint on that. But you can see it now. You can see that it's very definitely an eye. Right, okay, so we've got our blacks blocked in. So let's move on to this nice grey, bluey shoulder area and the top of his wings. I think I probably can move up to the 1/4 inch angle shader. And I'm going to mix this sort of colour again, because that's pretty dry now. So it's blue, it's ultramarine blue, black and white. Just keep mixing the white till you get the colour that you want. This colour here. So a little bit lighter than that. maybe a little bit more black in that actually. It's a bit more grey. I don't think we're far out with that. What do you think, Mr. Handyman?
It looks good. Well, it always dries a bit lighter as well. Doesn't it?
No,
Or
actually it dries darker.
That's right. Thinking of watercolours. Silly me.
Silly you. Yeah, I'm okay with that, I think. We are only blocking in. If it, if it's not right, it doesn't really matter, because we'll come back and
Feather him up.
feather him up. So we're starting from just here, and you can see what a good job it is that we put some sky in, because he just would have vanished. I'm going to have a job making him stand out as it is. As I say, go in the direction that the feathers go in. There's a little bit down here that's kind of the colour of his breast. It's a little bit muted, but it is that colour. So just make sure that you leave that. It's obviously an important thing with these birds. I mean, I don't want an anatomical representation. That's not what we want. It's not what we're about. We want it to look painterly, and painterly is a different thing. Painterly looks like it's been painted, and that's the joy of it. If you want it to look exactly like that bird, then that's photorealism, and it's a skill that some people have. It's an amazing skill, but for me, I can't see why you don't just take a photograph. Not that I'm belittling the people, but we are doing this so as it looks like it's been painted.
Ziggy says hello.
Hiya Ziggy, I'm glad you had a good time on Saturday. I can't get my hand in the right place. So there's just this little bit along here. Sorry guys, I'm just going to have to pick him up because I just can't get my brush where I need it. Okay, I haven't done any more than just colour that part in there. It's just I couldn't get my hand in the right place. I'm going to have to put that in with a small brush, and then here there's just a tiny little bit of it down here. It's quite feathery looking, this. So just drop that in there. And there's some little bits of it along here. Down to there. Okay, so we're making this patchwork up, we're getting there. It's beginning to come to life, even as Beak isn't annoying me as much as it was. So now we'll just grab some white and our little brush and put in these feathers along here. Not that yet because I haven't mixed that colour. It'll be a later addition. So just grab a little bit of that white, mix it in with some water until you can move it around with this very little brush. I'll just put these in. They do have markings over the top of them, but we need the white in first. It's actually lifting up some of that transfer, so it's turning quite yellow. But you know, we can let it dry and come back in again.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to mix a little bit of this through my white, tiny little bit, because as it goes to that far end it gets this sort of colour, much lighter version of the bluey grey. It sort of fades away as it goes across his wing. Okay, so I'm just going to get some more brown and do that ring around his eye while I remember about it. So it's kind of easy thing to forget. Just a tiny little bit of water. And of course, because you're adding water, you're diluting the pigment, which is why on some of these things that are finer, we're needing to put 2 coats on. That's better, that's better. Now, I think when I look at him, there is some black that comes to just almost under his eye and then starts again. So I'm going to do that because it looks proper to me. It looks like it should be there. I'll just pick up a little bit of this black. I'm just going to come along here to there. And then it starts again here. I quite like that. I think that's better. I think it's more like him. Some little feathers going there, but we'll catch those next time round. So I guess it's time to move on to his tum-tum. Right, what colours am I going to mix for that then? That's the question. I think we're going to need yellow ochre for sure. I think we might need a red. Let's mix those up and see where we get to. See what colour we end up with those. So
you off the page. Anyway, in that area there is good.
okay, so there's a bit of yellow, a bit of red.
He says, have you had a new hairdo? It looks smashing.
Yeah, I have actually. Thank you. I was just so fed up with it. It wasn't even having a something, you know. It was wasn't long, it wasn't short. It was getting on my wick anyway, so I got it all chopped off. I'm not sure I'm mixing a very good colour here. I'm going to have to add some brown, I think, to that. Might not be too far away, actually. It's got loads more than I need here, so let's move that away. Add a little bit of brown. Bit of raw umber, let's see what happens. I can't for the love of me remember how I mixed this colour for the one that I did. Okay, that might not be too bad a start. No. How on earth did I mix this colour? Nope.
Just like red with a little bit of yellow in, maybe.
Okay, that's a nice orangey. Let's try a bit of bright yellow. See what joy that brings.
You were so big on the paint.
Well, I don't usually. I normally manage to get the right colour. I don't know what's going on here. I just can't get. Oh, that might be all right with a bit of white in it. Do you think?
You scrape your palette off if you want.
Yeah, I'm going to have to in a minute.
You start with much smaller proportions, I think.
Do you think? I think we're getting there. I think we're finally getting in there. I don't think you need add all those colours that I added. I need a little bit more of that orangey colour. Let's try that. I think we're there, chaps. I think we made it. Finally. There's got to be an easier way than that. Right, excellent. We've got there. That was a bit of a trial by colour.
Trial by palette.
Trial by palette. Right, then. Finally, we have the colour. I'm just going to put my lids on back on some of these because it's very, very warm in here. As you can see by how it's drying there. Actually, talking about drying your paints out, when we come to do the blooms on this, I'm going to use a new sort of paint. It's not new, it's been on the go for a little while. And it's called Golden Open. And I'll show you what it looks like. It looks like this. For all the world the same as the golden heavy bodied, but it's in the bottom part's in black and it clearly says open and it's slow drying. And it makes making the flowers possible, and without it, it is a real chore. You have to employ the fluid retarder into every mix that you make, every colour that you make. So if you can, I know they sell these in nice little sets of sort of primary colours, which theoretically should give you every colour that you need. So just to see if you like them, it might be worth investing in that. I have, and I really, really, really love them. Right, before this wretched colour dries, let's get it onto him. Where's my 1/4 inch? Here we are. Let's dry that off a bit. Yeah, I'm happy with that colour, that is bang on. Bit of the shenanigans getting it right, but I wish I'd made a note of what I'd mixed the first time. How many times do we say that?
20/20 hindsight.
Yeah. Talking of 20/20 vision, Mr. Handyman's getting new glasses tomorrow. It's quite an exciting day for him because for the last 4 times he's been, he hasn't needed any change in his prescription. So he's had the same glasses for 4 years. You get new jazzy ones tomorrow.
And then my eyes got better.
Yeah, his eyes got better. Whose eyes does that?
I put it down to having to see beautiful things every day.
Do you?
Yeah.
How sweet is that? It's helped your eyesight by seeing beauty.
Yep.
Oh, lordy. So once again, I'll just say we're just putting the base coat on. There's different hints and tints and shades and shadows on this fellow, but we'll get the base coat on, and then we'll worry about everything else.
Kerry Bet says hi from Australia.
Hi, Kerry. I didn't know you were Australian. I always see your lovely comments that you leave on things that I do. You always leave like lovely flowers or something, which I really like. Thank you. Well, I'm glad we persevered with colour matching this bird, because I'm really happy with that colour match now. Anyone I've ever seen in the garden or whatever has been that sort of colour, so I'm quite happy with that. Now we've got this titchy-weeny little bit here. Actually that bit there, I don't know why that Why I've left that bit out. Yeah, so this is it's kind of this colour, and then it's got the blue-grey over the top of it. So I'm just going to get my little brush.
Susan says, such a sweetie. She must be on about me. If only.
Yeah, well, you are a sweetie, aren't you? Well, without you, this wouldn't be possible, would it? Because there's absolutely no chance of me producing this. No chance at all. I mean, the place looks like NASA. So I'll just leave that to dry, and then we'll come back and put a light coat of this grey-blue on it. And now then, there's some white goings on down here.
Kerry says thank you, and she's put some
little roses, little flowers.
Flowers and some little shoots.
Oh,
Spring
that's what
shoots.
she always does. It's really nice. I like it.
No, I don't suppose she's in spring.
No, she must be in
Autumn.
autumn. Right, let's get some of this white then. Are we still on palette cam? Yeah.
Yeah, just about.
Thin it down. Get it off the brush. This has become a bit contaminated by a Bullfinch breast colour, but I think probably alright. It'll be alright. In nature, there's very little that's absolutely pure white. I had a dream the other night that I woke up and my hair was really white, but apart from that, there's not much that's really, really white. So this goes down.
And then you realised you'd fell asleep outside when it was snowing.
No, it was a horrible dream. It was a nightmare. It was a real nightmare. Proper nightmare. I dreamt I was going to be executed.
Well, that would send your hair white.
This comes up here. You can just see it on the reference photo. Here. And then there's a bit of white goings on here. Comes up here. And it comes just to the sort of base there, and then there's another little burst of whiteness. Okay, so we're making progress then. We've got the bird, we can see he's definitely a bird. We've got him blocked out. Is he looking okay?
Yep. Are you putting the one leg in later, yeah?
Yeah, he's the kind of last thing I'm going to do is the leg. He's legless at the minute. Fair enough. I think what I'm going to start doing is putting in the suggestions of these feathers here. This colour, but slightly darker. So we'll just take a little bit of that. A little bit of black. Need probably more than that, actually. So, yeah, let's just tone that down ever so slightly. So there's a sort of line comes across here. And the feathers come down here.
Susan says shoot, you didn't get the flooding as well as the snow.
Flooding.
With the rain the other day.
Oh, right. Oh, it's horrendous. The cars going along our back road were like there were boats going through the sea.
I think we were pretty much blocked off if we had wanted to go
Yeah,
anywhere.
we couldn't have got anywhere, I don't think. So the idea with these feathers is that you actually draw them in lines like this across, so they look feathery-fied. Feathery-fied. And draw them just coming outside, kind of the outline of the bird. There are feathers in there too. These are feathers coming up to here. So sort of press on with your brush, so you get, you know, your brush leaves marks. And that way then it will catch the light slightly differently. I appreciate wholeheartedly that this probably isn't showing up too well, but trust me, it's worth doing.
Under our bright lights.
I know, it bleaches everything out. So as I say, there is a little line across there, and the feathers are coming down here. And then there's a very distinct line across there. It's a bit heavier on the top of his, on the top here, like that. It sort of fades away lighter actually as it goes back along here. And there's quite a light bit in there. It's okay, it's coming along. He's looking okay. Oh, there's a bit of canvas we've missed completely here. This bit in here. Got no colour on at all. So there's quite a dark line that goes along here. So I'll put that in with this. I don't know, I haven't got any inky colour left. This is the problem with acrylics, especially under a hot light. They dry out so quickly. Let's just take a bit of that and mix that into there. Just to give us a dark colour to make this line, but still in keeping. So it comes off here and it goes down to there. And possibly need that a bit darker. Yeah, that's okay. Let's just darken down this top again here. And then it goes away into a line there as well. Whoa, nearly forgot my brush. Okay, I'm quite happy with that, that's okay. Now then, we have to probably put in some more black on here. So we'll do that, then we'll deal with his chest, just putting some shadings in, so you can see there's some ochres in there and even a bit of violet in there. So, but I'll just deal with, at the moment, refirming these black lines. Just so as they look nice and black, and as I said, make sure that you put them the way that the feathers go. Like that.
Zoom out a little, you may see it better.
Okay.
Maybe too.
Sort of push your brush down as you do it, and you'll get brush marks, which are ordinarily really what you don't want. But in this occasion, it works quite well with a feathered bird like this. I'm just going to go over that transfer line there. Oh, he's shaping up not too bad. What do you think this time around?
Still doesn't look very nice.
Any obvious flaws that you can see?
The one under my feet.
Oh my goodness, he's just so funny. So what have you been up to today then, Mr. H?
I've been out and about today, hunting and gathering.
Oh yeah.
I went to a furniture auction this morning and bought some pieces of furniture to keep you busy.
Oh, that's good. This piece here being one of them.
Indeed.
Yeah. Well, it's two. It's kind of one piece, but it's one lot, two pieces, isn't it? It's two bedside cabinets. What else did you get? Anything interesting?
Set of drawers and a small chest of drawers.
Oh.
2/2.
Excellent.
In pine.
Okay. Right, let's move along now to put some detail on his chest, tummy, whatever. Now, there's definitely some red here. There's some red there and there's some red there. And there's definitely some ochre here. This here I'm reading as purple, but I think it might be that colour. Just against this rose colour, it looks slightly different. So I'm going to head for the red. I haven't really got any left because it's all dried up. I'm just going to take a teeny bit. No, here.
Yep.
Yeah, just a tiny little bit of that red. Now that's bright, it's a really bright colour. So I'm going to mix it through with some of the colour that we used for his breast. That gives us a much more usable colour. Now, not a great deal of it, but it's there, so we'll pay tribute to it by putting it on. So that's it. So just before it dries, just try and wipe it out a bit. And there's also a little line of it here. So if you were using open paint, the Golden Olden, you would be able to do that and it would smooth it all out. But this, it's
Golden Olden.
Golden Olden. Golden Open. I'm a Golden Oldie. I am. It'd be my birthday a week on Sunday. Is that right? Week on Sunday.
It can be if you want, but it is actually Sunday.
It's on Sunday. It's my birthday on Sunday. Oh dear. Right. So I'm going to go back into this colour that we used for his chest, and I'm just going to, I'm not going over that line as such, I'm just lessening it. So I don't want it to be that in your face, but as I said, it is there. Okay, that's alright, I'm quite happy with that. Now we'll just take a little bit of the ochre, and as you get down towards his tail, it goes more ochre-y. Just sort of into here, really. Maybe a little bit up there as well. So it just sort of melts together. And you can play with this for ages if you want to, but I think that's, you know, it's not too bad really. Let's take a little bit of that into there. Doesn't matter if you sort of go paint outside the lines, as it were. He's got feathers, and it's nice if you can see that he's got feathers, that it's not one solid. Oh, yeah, I like that with the ochre over it. It's given it a bit of life, actually, that he was lacking before. Now here I need some grey colour over that tummy colour, because it's there but it's not very bold, so I'll just use a bit of this. Oh, it's drying up already, it's ridiculous. Just spritz it with just a water spritzer bottle. So just go over that like that. It's there, it's a hint, it's a nod to it, it's there. Right, so now we need to put some of these lines on his wings and his tail. For that, you need a thin brush, little brush, tiniest you can find. These are, I think I've shown you these before, not that one. These ones are Arteza brushes, and I got them, I think they might have been a set of 10, something like that, and they were really, really cheap. And boy, have I used them, and they've been excellent. They really have been ever so good. So they're something that I would recommend. So I'll go for this one. It might be the right choice, it might be the wrong one, we'll see. Oh, this is all drying. So we need this sort of grey-blue colour on here. And I've just got a little bit of this left alive, so hopefully it'll be enough. And they come up from these. Like that. And then these ones come down and up, down, up. I mean, like I say, we want this to be painterly. I mean, I want it to look something like right, but the bird police aren't going to come round and check how many tail feathers he's got or whatever. So do what looks right rather than what is actually anatomically bang on. The two in an ideal world would be the same. So this here, this is the next lot, and they start coming down. Don't go so far up. And there's a sort of bracket shaped thing. Sorry Bullfinch, I don't know the parts of you, I'm sorry.
No bull.
It's got a proper name though, we know his proper name. What's his proper name, Mr. H? There you go, whatever that is, that's his proper name.
Perula, Perula.
Perula, Perula. So these sort of go across on that whiter section that we left. So now really our biggest problem is the tail.
Paula said hello.
Hi Paula! You busy girl.
Georgia says she needs more brushes.
You need more brushes. You need more brushes, more paint, more everything goodness. It's so exciting when they arrive.
I love all brushes, addicted.
I know. So just looking at what his tail looks like, he's got this sort of diamondy bit here, and then he's got a bit that comes out here. It is addictive, honestly. You know, once you start down this route, well, it would just be much better if I had whatever. Oh, look at that. They don't come in sets of single ones. They just come in sets of 10. Oh, well, I'll just get 10. And then there's another line inside there. I think that's good enough for his tail. It's not exact, but it's pretty good. I'm just going to go back into here, and that's not dark enough. Just add a little bit of black into that mix. Be careful with black, it's a very strong colour and it can really deaden things. If you mix it, you know, if you mix it into things, it can really deaden things really quickly.
Probably needs some like grey for underneath his belly as well, where you've got it like.
For where?
The bottom of his belly.
Down here. Oh yeah, that line. The line we talked about. So there is a line down here on his wings, and there is quite a dark line, but can't seem to mix it up dark enough. That comes up here. I have no idea why I can't mix up a dark colour. It's getting darker on my palette. So that comes up there like that. That's better. That sets him better, I think. I like the way these feathers are coming here. I like that. Yeah, we're okay. We're good. We're good to go. So, as Mr. Handyman says, we need, when we've got some of this in play before it goes rock solid, we'll just add a little bit, just coming out of here, going up there. It almost looks purpley. Okay, so I need to go back with a grey now, proper grey, not a grey blue. So have I got any white? Yeah, I've got some there. That's contaminated. It's all contaminated. Let's just get rid of some of this out of the way.
I can use a bit of palette.
No, it's alright.
It's just sitting there.
No, it's alright. We're kind of nearly there, really. Right, so bit of white, that was like 30 times more than I need. 300 times probably. And some black. Let's mix up a grey. Proper, honest to goodness grey, not a bluey grey. But a grey. Yeah, I think that's okay.
Get this right, we need 2 palette cams.
Yeah. Well, no, it was the bird, the colour for his tummy set me off all wrong. I used too much palette. I was just wasteful with a bit of cellophane. I just got this, looks like it's feathering out from there. I quite like that look actually, it's quite nice. So what have we got left to do? Well, while we've got the white in our hands, let's just take a spot of that and give him a bit of twinkle in his eye. There we are. So I'm just going to have another look at this beak and his leg. His leg goes in there. It's not going to be in white, don't panic, I'm just putting it in to show you. That's it. I'm not going to paint the other leg or anything. That's where it's going to go. That'll give us an idea where to put the blooms, etc. I think I've put too much white in his eye, so I'm going to blend him a bit.
Georgia says students always wonder why she goes straight to the brush booths at hair shows. Great buys, and so many makeup brushes are great for painting.
Yeah, they are. They really are.
I'd buy a sack full. I'm using them now along with art brushes.
Yeah, I know, it's true. And, you know, the acrylic nails, they use tools that are really... In fact, that little set that I got from Arteza, they may well have been nail acrylic brushes. I don't know. I mean, they serve my purpose beautifully. But, yeah, you're dead right there, Georgia. Absolutely.
Got a load of spot tools.
Yeah, we did.
Which are for acrylic nails.
Yeah. Right, let's have a look at this beak and see what on earth is going on with him. It was thoroughly miserable, doesn't he?
If you've got no legs, you'd be miserable.
Oh, that's true. I'm just going to paint that beak in again.
That looks better.
Let's put some white. It's got a highlight on it. There. Oh, my paint's too wet to put it in. Yeah, that's his highlight there. There's a little highlight along the bottom. There. That is the right shape. It's the right shape. So it's kind of got black along underneath it. Maybe that'll bring it together. Okay. Well, I'm not altogether delighted with that. Let's get a bit of this bluey, inky, grey blue. There's always one bit, isn't there? It's just annoying.
And get rid of the white line.
Get rid of the white line.
You want it's curving upwards instead of downwards.
Right, okay. It's gone. Maybe that's what was putting me off.
And I'll put a black line to separate the two parts of the beak. Curving downwards to the end and you'll be fine.
Excellent.
Otherwise you'll be fiddling all night.
I know. So it goes down there. Then it comes up. Then it goes down. That doesn't look right either. better, I think. Need a bit of highlight on him, but apart from that, I think that is better. I've never ever had a trouble with a bird's beak before, ever. I can't do much more than that. I think that's okay. I think that's okay, actually.
Yeah.
Right, so that's our birdie. That's our birdie. Looks all right to me. I think we've covered most of him. If there's anything that I think isn't right about him, when I have a look at it later on, I'll save it and we'll go through it on Friday. When I upload it, you'll see what else I've done to it. But I like it. I think it's a bullfinch.
We'll take a picture because you'll see the detail better than.
Yeah,
than
we'll take a picture.
It's a bit washed out.
Yeah,
on
he
the
does
screen.
look a bit washed out. He's quite.
But he's not like that in real
No,
life.
he's quite dark. We'll take a photograph and I'll upload that and we'll see where we are. That's just a bit of Syrah, which a rubber will bring off. Okay, guys, where are we? An hour and a half.
Do you want to show them the picture of the blue tit and the blooms to show what we're going to do in the video for Friday? Similar thing.
Yeah, this is obviously here I've used a blue tit. Here we've got a bullfinch, and I've put the flowers around it. This was a tutorial that I did for painting over borders. Details of that you can find at Fairy Chic Emporium with Paula Rolls. It's a great little group. It is. It's very interesting and full of nice people. And I was honoured to be asked to paint this tutorial for them. But that set off. That was the first one of those. But for us, this one is our first, and it's a bullfinch, and it will have flowers. They won't be pink. They're going to be white, and there won't be this sort of flower. But it will be sitting in a I nearly said a room full of flowers, but garden of flowers. So on Friday at 8 o'clock on YouTube, the second part of this will go up live for you to watch, so you can watch me put the flowers in. I hope you've enjoyed tonight. I'm quite pleased now with the outcome. We'll take a photograph, as Mr. Handyman says, and put it up for you to have a look, because I think it looks slightly better than he does. Than he does on there. All right, thanks for sticking with me. I look forward to seeing you on Friday night with the birds and blooms. On Saturday night, the third part of our large painting, the Tuscan House, will be going up on YouTube. This is our Tuscan House. This is a large painting that's going to take us a long time to finish. That's our reference, and this is how far we've got so far. So every week we add an hour's worth of painting to that. It's for beginners. Everything that I do is for beginners. So that's Monday night live on here. Friday night, 8 o'clock YouTube on my channel is the Birds and Blooms, and Saturday night is the Tuscan House. So I hope to see you all somewhere. I did sort of suggest to Dorothy Smith that I would do a little tutorial, quick little tutorial on doing the blooms, which if I get the time this week, Dorothy, I really will. Failing that, you'll have to watch the YouTube tutorial on Friday at 8. So thanks everybody for sticking with me. We've been an hour and a half exactly, my goodness. And it's time to go. Time for a cup of coffee. Thanks everybody. Bye.
Me and the boys was sitting around drinking, we was talking about things that we was thinking, when all of a sudden what comes out of Bill's mouth? Said I'm getting old and fat and slow and I don't recover like I did before from nights of rabble, rousing and too much fun. Well, I looked around and we all agreed and I had a drink and I ordered 3 and I staggered back to do it all again. And we made an oath on a rum and coke with the best intention, I'm sure you know, that we would stop this living in excess. We're gonna have one more party, one more special occasion.